Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Amidst the quiet, starlit sky of the universe, an island was erected right in the middle of the mighty golden waves. This was none other than the core ground of the Freedom Alliance. Over 400 universe masters had gathered here and were seated on numerous thrones. They had come to a consensus not long ago, and were waiting for the humans to hand over part of the information of the inheritance. Shahua Island leader was seated on the king's throne as he gently swirled the wine glass in his hand. Lowering his gaze to look at the wine glass, he was smiling as he felt pleased with how things were progressing. The great momentum at which the Freedom Alliance is progressing can be used to threaten the humans. Thereafter, I can get in touch with the humans without anyone from the Freedom Alliance knowing about it. Merely giving the information of inheritance to me as the condition in exchange for the entire Freedom Alliance to join the human camp. Oh, how easy it is to get hold of that information on cultivating to achieve the ultimate limit of a universe supreme master. With these thoughts, Shahua Island leader could not help but feel satisfied. He even started to develop feelings of self-admiration. In fact, right at the beginning, when Luo Feng had received the inheritance of the pulse of Duandong River, Shahua Island leader had already known that within the primal universe, there might be chaos. With the human race gaining strength and power, the conflicts with other races of the primal universe would intensify to such an extreme that there might even be the possibility of a brewing storm. Since then, he had started to devise his plan of action, albeit discreetly, and had tried to get himself acquainted with universe masters of various scattered races. Those scattered races had low social statuses. Therefore, they would ask for nothing more if they were able to form acquaintances with supreme masters who traveled alone. This was how he had managed to get acquainted with a large group of universe masters so quickly. The moment he caught wind of Huge Axe Creator's annihilation, Shahua Island leader had been immediately aware that this was a catalyst for an imminent war, and it had been ignited long before expected. If Huge Axe Creator was annihilated, the other races would most likely start communicating with one another to prepare in the dark. Or maybe they would not react quite so soon, so he had to quicken his pace and react right away. Everything was developing as expected. The pressure the two major camps exerted on the scattered races had created the perfect opportunity. Shahua Island Master immediately made use of his social skills and relationships with the other great beings to start a round of persuasions. Soon enough, he had gathered a sizable group of powers on his side. Relying on those he had roped in, he went on to further persuade other groups of powers. Finally, he combined everyone he had roped in and established a super alliance, the Freedom Alliance. Be an alliance master. To me, it is pointless. What I am after is to be truly invincible. To transcend reincarnation. The first thing I want to do is to attain what Teacher Origin has achieved. Then I will aim to transcend reincarnation, like East Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor. Shahua Island leader's chest ballooned up with his overwhelming desire. As a supreme master who traveled alone, he was never one to be bothered by the so-called power of alliance. He had established one, because he needed to make use of it. He had waited casually all the while, with his consciousness kept connected to the virtual universe, as he waited for the humans to reply. He might have connected to the virtual universe before, but previously, he had done so via a hidden identity. However, since the negotiations between the Freedom Alliance and the humans took place, all universe masters and supreme masters from the Freedom Alliance had permission to connect to the virtual universe. This would facilitate efficient communication between both sides. Suddenly, the leisurely and carefree expression on Shahua Island Master's face disappeared to reveal a heavy and furious mix of emotions. Right away, his eyes swept his surroundings as he shouted out in anger, "Everyone! Just a moment ago, we came to a consensus, yet now, the United Forces camp has already charged their way into the humans' primal secret region." The sudden shout of anger resonated throughout every inch of space on the entire island. Over 400 universe masters, who were still chatting merrily while waiting for the information about the inheritance a moment before, were instantly dumbstruck. How could it be? Why would the United Forces attack the humans at this point in time? We have just reached a compromise internally. How could the United Forces attack the humans so soon? Who? Exactly who could have let the cat out of the bag? Don't you all know that by doing so, we might be throwing away our chance of getting the information on that inheritance? Who leaked the news? The Universe Masters on the island were all in rage instantly. The most infuriated one was none other than Shahua Island leader. This could possibly foil all his fine plans. Obviously, there is someone amongst us who has leaked the news. Shahua Island leader's stern gaze swept across the numerous Universe Masters. This is dashing the hopes for the future of all our Universe Masters. This is unpardonable. Of course, I won't rule out the possibility of an accidental slip of the tongue while conversing with a disciple or friend, but right now, obsessing about trying to find the culprit is pointless. The humans are all in hiding, and the United Forces camp can do nothing to them, so the situation is not worsening. What we must do now is head to the human territory right away to join forces with the human camp. All right. True. We will set off now. Not a single Universe Master here can be left out. Anyone who refuses to go shall cast the most suspicion on himself. Some of the Universe Masters were worried that their hopes of achieving a breakthrough to become Universe Supreme Masters had been dashed. Indeed, they were so mad that they were gritting their teeth to contain their anger. Exactly who was the one who had spilled the beans to the United Force camp? Setting off. Setting off. Soon, 6 palace true treasures made a mighty appearance up in the sky above the island. Then they made a speedy departure via their god country transportation. Although they were all from the same alliance, the internal struggles among the cliques formed within the alliance were quite serious. Some scattered races were sworn enemies of one another, so of course, they did not want to work together. As a result, the over 400 Universe Masters were split into 6 teams. And with around 70 Universe Masters in one team, the amount of power they wielded justified their arrogance. In the primal secret region within human territory, the 9-story tower stood erected amidst the void space, and in the distance, 11 palace true treasures were attacking in an unrestrained frenzy. They were causing widespread destruction by reducing everything within that void space to an uncountable flow of particles, which then rained onto Star Tower with a rumble. Star Tower was bombarded. It might have been a little shaken, but it definitely was not sent flying off its spot. This shocked the United Forces camp. So many of us Universe Masters. Together with 11 Universe Supreme Masters, we are such a powerful combination of force, yet we are unable to cause Star Tower to budge from its spot. Could it be because the over 100 Universe Masters within Star Tower are all helping and doing their best to stabilize Star Tower? Star Tower is controlled by Luo Feng. This Luo Feng was the one who received the inheritance of the Pulse of Duan Dong River. With him around, any mysterious occurrence is possible. The Boat of Mausoleum is a treasure with willpower capable of exerting impact, and he took it away. The United Forces camp was angry, yet they were also anxious. Very soon, the attacks came to a halt, because they were all aware that the attacks were a complete waste of their godly powers. The humans were successful in their surprise attack previously, because what they were attacking was a Pinnacle Palace true treasure. Where a Pinnacle Palace true treasure was concerned, it had close to negligible soul defense ability. But a Supreme True Treasure was different. If their opponent was hiding within Star Tower and Black Prison Tower, those were completely capable of blocking all kinds of material and soul attacks. It seems like we are going to fight a war of attrition. When the Freedom Alliance arrives, the situation is going to be even more troublesome. No matter what, we cannot give up on this war. There is no way we can watch the humans becoming stronger. At the very least, we have various groups of power joining forces this time. If we still let the humans off easily with this force of ours, we will become laughing stocks. Behind one of the side doors within Star Tower were Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader, and Peng Gong Master. Bombard us away. Luo Feng laughed. Ha ha. That endless remote ocean is one of my other bodies. Even though I had transferred it into Star Tower where I can personally control it, getting it to budge an inch is a challenge to my limits. Now that the endless remote ocean is within Star Tower, how heavy is Star Tower now? I really have no idea. And they seek to bombard it away. The United Forces camp must be extremely angry, Pengong Master commented while shaking his head. I'm afraid up until now, they are still oblivious to the fact that every move they make, Teacher Origin is watching, and we will always be a step ahead. Yes. Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City Leader both nodded. Even within the human race itself, prior to this, Luo Feng and the rest had also been unaware that Teacher Origin was able to see almost every situation happening to them in every inch of the primal universe, not to mention the other races within the primal universe. Let's wait for the Freedom Universe to arrive, Primal Chaos City Leader said. Then things will get so much easier. If there was no Freedom Alliance, the United Force camp could have bound the humans quite effortlessly, and they could have sustained such bondage for eternity. All that was required of them was to leave behind over 200 Universe Masters, and a portion of their Supreme Masters as permanent residents. Then the humans would have been completely suppressed. The other Universe Masters could then take turns to enter Universe Ocean for adventures anytime they pleased. Seizing all the human territories, then binding the entire human camp were ways to deprive the humans of any room for development. Very soon, the other races within the human camp would break away, because those other races had to think of their own people as well. Yet this would cause the humans to get weaker and weaker, and eventually, it would be hard for them to establish a firm foothold in the primal universe. They might even have to retreat back into their original universe. Luo Feng, how could you be so daring as to? Primal Chaos City Leader took one look at Luo Feng as he sighed inwardly. That plan was much too dangerous. Of course, the humans were in no danger at all. The one in danger was Luo Feng, only Luo Feng. We cannot do that. With the Freedom Alliance joining us, we definitely have an edge over the United Forces camp. Luo Feng doesn't need to take such a risk. The United Force camps will never be able to realize their goal. It is their fate. Primal Chaos City Leader was still waiting. He was still keeping in touch with Shahua Island Leader via the virtual universe, who had, in turn, informed him that the Freedom Alliance would make their way over without delay. From within Star Tower, Luo Feng, Pengong Master, and Primal Chaos City Leader looked out far into the distance and saw 6 massive objects making a sudden appearance. They have arrived. They have arrived. Luo Feng instantly expressed his joy, while everyone else, from Primal Chaos City Leader to the numerous Universe Masters within Black Prison Tower, were all very excited. Amidst the void space, 11 palace true treasures of the United Forces camp were dangerously near. They had been conversing in secret, because they knew that their opponents seemed aware of their plan of a sudden attack prior to their arrival, and had managed to make a clean escape before they arrived. Thus, they had been unable to achieve their goal. As a result, they were forced to carry out a most insane war of attrition. They are coming. The Freedom Alliance has arrived. They all saw the 6 massive palace true treasures appearing from afar, and those 6 palace true treasures exuded such a formidable oppressive force, that it was obvious that the Universe Masters inside were doing it on purpose. The Freedom Alliance's 6 palace true treasures arrived in a mighty manner, unleashing such an endless, oppressive force that seemed to proclaim their status as the top group of power in the primal universe through the exhibition of such might. Humans, we have arrived. We have arrived. This particular area in space might have been under the influence of those Supreme Masters, who were forcing the virtual universe to remain open. All of them had avatars within their own race's territory. Naturally, they were still able to connect to the virtual universe. This was how the 6 palace true treasures, apparently each with one representative from the 6 major factions, remained in touch with the humans. Freedom Alliance, what are you waiting for? Primal Chaos City Leader responded. Hurry over and help us humans. With both of us joining forces, we can definitely defeat our enemy, the United Forces. No hurry. Primal Chaos City Leader, don't get too anxious yet. You humans must hand the information of the inheritance over to us first. As agreed, before the war, you must give us a portion of it. After the war, you will give us the remaining part. So, you all must first hand over part of the information of the inheritance. After we have seen, verified, and confirmed it, we will help you without reservation. Otherwise, we are in no position to attack anyone. Yes. Give us our share of the information on the inheritance first. The leaders of each of the 6 major factions were of one mind. On an individual plane surface of the virtual universe, within an elegant and quiet hall, there were 4 stone chairs on one side, and 6 stone chairs on the other. The side with 4 stone chairs had Primal Chaos City Leader, Luo Feng, Darkness Master, and Peng Gong Master. While on the other side, the 6 representatives from Freedom Alliance were seated on the other 6 stone chairs. They were also the representatives from the 6 major factions. You cannot expect us, Freedom Alliance, to help you for nothing. Shahua Island Leader was the final representative from the 6 major factions to speak up. You must first give us a portion of the information of the inheritance. After we have seen and confirmed that you are not messing around with us, we will promise to join your human camp and help you deal with the United Forces camp. Dear all from Freedom Alliance, do not worry. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. Now, I will be giving every one of you here a portion of information of the inheritance. All right. All right. From the Freedom Alliance, other than the 6 representatives who were seated inside the hall, over 400 Universe Masters waited outside. They could all hear the negotiation going on inside, and the moment they heard that they would be getting the information of the inheritance, everyone grew eager and excited. Now, let's begin. Primal Chaos City Leader laughed. Everyone, please look and study this carefully. Thereafter, through the virtual universe system, a message was sent out to over 400 Universe Masters. It contained a large amount of information. The moment these 400+ Universe Masters, who had been waiting eagerly while conversing with one another, received this message, everyone instantly quietened down to look through the information carefully. Even Shahua Island Master was so filled with curiosity that he had to take a look for himself. Although he was a Universe Supreme Master, he had achieved his breakthrough in a most aimless manner. He had no systematic experience to speak of. Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader, Darkness Master, and Peng Gong Master locked eyes with one another and nodded. They were very confident. Especially Luo Feng. Because this was information on the inheritance, he had prepared meticulously. To make it much simpler, many important key points were omitted. Yet no matter what, even after the simplification, and some slight adjustments made by Luo Feng, what the Universe Masters would get to see would definitely shock them. Because this information on the inheritance was so subversive, it would make this group of Universe Masters from the Freedom Alliance yearn for the next part of the information even more. Luo Feng was not worried that they would not want to help the humans in this war. There is a lot of information, Luo Feng relayed via voice transmission. Even if we are to go through the virtual universe to try to achieve the fastest rate of information transmission possible, and even if it was the speed of acceptance of a Universe Master, it would still take quite a while. Then we just have to wait for a little while longer, Primal Chaos City Leader said with a smile. We are inside Star Tower now. There is nothing the United Forces camp can do to us. Just wait for a while. Nothing will go wrong. When the Freedom Alliance joins forces with our camp, things will be so much easier for us. Peng Gong grinned so widely that his eyes curved into smiles, too. Yes. Darkness Master also nodded. The humans were all waiting. Time passed. A lofty, 9-story tower stood erected amidst the void space. Surrounding it were 11 massive palace true treasures of the United Force camp, and the 6 palace true treasures of Freedom Alliance. A streak of light dashed across space to arrive at the same place. Suddenly, all eyes, be they of the human camp, which was earnestly waiting for the Freedom Alliance's final reply, or the United Forces camp, fell upon this streak of light. Mightily and speedily, this streak of light, which was traveling at a speed that far exceeded the speed of light, dashed into this void space and quickly came to a halt. This was a bizarre true treasure that had 8 legs and looked somewhat like the shape of an altar. This bizarre true treasure was the remarkable Ancestral God Altar. Ancestral God Altar was a treasure that the primal universe had bestowed upon the Ancestral God School. It might not have been a supreme true treasure and was, thus, non-aggressive, but in terms of its defensive ability alone, it was not inferior to any other supreme true treasure. Being a power that the primal universe was biased toward, the Ancestral God School had certainly received a wide variety of preferential treatment. Primal Chaos City Leader, we have arrived. We have arrived. Milky Way, we have arrived. We are a tad slower, but upon receiving the message you transmitted, we gathered and made our way here right away. Now, we have arrived. One after another, news was being transmitted through the virtual universe. Ha ha. Dear all from Ancestral God School, no one is late at all. The war has yet to truly begin. We are inside Star Tower now. Dear all from Ancestral God School, some of you should come into Star Tower, too. This will be better for our combined force. All right. No problem. Some universe masters of our Ancestral God School shall make their way into Star Tower now. Looking up into the void space, the Ancestral God Altar could be seen flying toward Star Tower without a moment's pause. In an instant, the two closed up the distance between them. A side door of Star Tower opened, while a side door from Ancestral God Altar did likewise. Soon, a black ship was seen flying out of Ancestral God Altar and into Star Tower. Inside the tower, Primal Chaos City Leader, Milky Way Horde Leader, Darkness Master, Pengong Master, Long Yang Master. The handful of great beings from Ancestral God School that had joined the human camp inside Star Tower all seemed to be very passionate. So, naturally, the humans welcomed them with a passion that matched theirs. Both sides seemed amicable, however. This Ancestral God School is quite the sly one. Pengong Master was smiling, but in his heart, he was transmitting messages to Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader, and a few others. They have already gained the part of the information of the inheritance that we have given out. They promised to join our side quite some time ago. Previously, we sent out the news to both the Freedom Alliance and the Ancestral God School at the same time. Over 400 Universe Masters of the Freedom Alliance have arrived, but the Ancestral God School only sent a couple dozen Universe Masters. And furthermore, they arrived much later. Obviously, they are delaying time on purpose. It's normal for them to delay time on purpose. Luo Feng replied. The Ancestral God School might be previously ranked as the top group of power, but regardless of whether or not it is newly established like the Freedom Alliance and the United Forces camp, we from the human camp are now much stronger than them. Luo Feng sneered in his transmitted message. This is why they have to be a step slower. If it were our human race we were talking about, it would have collapsed upon being attacked, with no time to put up any resistance. Of course, the Ancestral God School would rather give up and not take the risk. If we are able to block off the attacks at the beginning, they will stick to the original plan and join us. Primal Chaos City Leader transmitted his message. This is considered quite ideal. After all, they are on our side and certainly do not wish to be trampled upon, or even to be exterminated, when they are here. Getting them to transfer a portion of their Universe Masters into Star Tower. The Ancestral God School has agreed right away. This goes to show that they are still somewhat sincere about helping us. Agreed? Humph. Pengong Master was clearly displeased. You should take a look at who they have sent over. 9 Remoteness Master, Falling Silkworm Master, Sky Beacon Master. Yes, all of them are, indeed, impressive. However, all of these are merely avatars. Those who have come into Star Tower are all avatars. There were only a handful of Universe Masters from the Ancestral God School who had avatars. The majority of them only had their original bodies. Entering Star Tower, their fates are in our hands and under our control, said Primal Chaos City Leader, maintaining a cool composure. They are expressing their sincerity in allowing a group of Universe Masters to come over to Star Tower. This is already quite a considerate move. You still expect them to send over the Universe Masters without multiple bodies? Impossible. These avatars do have godly bodies with strong godly powers, after all, and they carry true treasures with them. If there is no need, there is no way the Ancestral God School would be willing to give up all these. The Freedom Alliance and the Ancestral God School arrived in succession. The Ancestral God School joined the human camp right away, while over 400 Universe Masters from the Freedom Alliance were still occupied with the information of the inheritance. Time went by. Why are they still not making any move? Are we just going to wait here like that? Don't be so anxious. An old voice was heard from amidst the other Universe Supreme Masters. Previously, when the Freedom Alliance had just made its decision, we made a move right away. The Freedom Alliance would not have had time to receive the information of inheritance from the human race yet. This time around, they will want to see the information first before deciding whether or not they will join the human camp. I suppose they must be studying that information now. We must not be rash. The moment we bring forward our attacks, we will be provoking the Freedom Alliance. I'm afraid that making them angry will push them toward the human race. Why? Could it be that old beast god still harbors hope of the Freedom Alliance joining our side? Such slim hope. But if we make a move now, the Freedom Alliance will definitely help the humans. Then we are destined to fail in this war. On the contrary, if we postpone the attack, there may be a chance of a favorable turn of events. Let's wait and see. Although the United Forces camp was studying the situation carefully, no matter what, they came to realize that if the Freedom Alliance and the human camp really combined forces, the chances of the United Forces camp winning this war were extremely slim. The United Forces camp was waiting. The humans were also waiting. Amidst the void space, there was dead silence. The United Forces camp had 11 Palace True Treasures, the Freedom Alliance had 6 Palace True Treasures, the Ancestral God School had Ancestral God Altar, and the humans had Star Tower. The number of Universe Master gathered in this space was as many as 1,000, and the number of Universe Supreme Masters had exceeded 10. This was as good as saying that out of all the top-tier combat powers in the Primal Universe, 90% were now gathered in this very place. Every one of them had the power to crush and destroy a part of space and time with a flick of his finger. Every one of them could easily establish a strong and powerful race. And at that very moment, all of them were gathered in the same place. This war would surely affect the distribution of power within the Primal Universe for a period as long as hundreds of millions of eras. I'm done. I've finished it. I'm done looking through it, too. 6 Palace True Treasures of the Freedom Alliance stayed close to one another, which brought about an upsurge of godly power. They were transmitting voice messages to one another via this upsurge, not through the virtual universe. A voice, which sounded a bit cold, was transmitted. Now, all the Universe Masters of my Freedom Alliance have seen the information of inheritance. Everyone, tell me how you feel. This information of inheritance. How do you feel about it? It's quite all right. Not too bad. It can be considered as slightly informative. Very normal. This is the information of inheritance from the Pulse of Duandong River, on how to become a Universe Supreme Master. So brief and simple. It is too brief. Various opinions were voiced. Over 400 Universe Masters were transmitting information to one another. The strange thing was, over 400 Universe Masters were transmitting voices to one another via their godly powers and exchanging information with one another, but none was communicating or exchanging information with Shahur Island leader. Everyone, make your decision, that cold voice continued. To choose to join the human camp, or to choose to support me. Lightwalker Master, do you even need to ask? Of course, I choose to support you. I choose to support you too. Ha ha. Everyone should already know the correct choice. Lightwalker Master, the role of Alliance Master of the Freedom Alliance should be yours to claim. Of course, you also have to fulfill your promise. Lightwalker Master, if you fulfill your promise, of course, you will have all our support. We will support you. Various voices spoke up, yet all these Universe Masters were of one mind. There was no exception to their decision to support Lightwalker Master. Fine. Then we shall follow the second plan that we originally devised. Lightwalker Master transmitted his decision. We shall continue to submit requests to the humans to demand more detailed and more plentiful information on the inheritance. If they are willing to provide information that prevails over the information I provided you all with, then we can continue to join the human camp. If they provide something that is inferior to what I provided, then the human camp is not worthy of our support. Okay. We'll follow this plan. The Universe Masters from the Freedom Alliance all agreed to the plan. They had talked about it before, and this plan was based on the common interests of all the Universe Masters in the Freedom Alliance. Certainly, they wouldn't object to it. After all, an alliance formed upon common interests was the most stable. In a beautiful palace on an independent dimension of the virtual universe, Luo Feng, Primal Chaos City Leader, Darkness Master, and Peng Gong Master were looking at the 6 Universe Masters sitting opposite to them, waiting for an answer. "The Universe Masters from our alliance," said an 8-armed man, who was wearing silver armor with a pair of silver horns. His eyes gleamed with golden light. "They'll be represented by us." The 4 human representatives were shocked. Shahua Island Leader, who was one of the 6 representatives, was dazed. He turned around and looked at the leaders from other divisions. "That's right. Yes, Lightwalker Master will represent us." Agreed. Shahua Island Leader was upset. His original body immediately transmitted his voice to ask the Universe Masters from his division. Actually, he noticed that the 400-some Universe Masters were transmitting their voices with each other using their godly power, as he could sense their blurry godly power. However, those Universe Masters didn't transmit their voices to him, and besides, transmitting voices using godly power was fast, so they reached a consensus in a few seconds. Although he was confused, he didn't raise any more questions. Yet Lightwalker Master told the humans that he would be in charge. "Brother Shahua, we all agree that Lightwalker Master will represent us." Island Leader. "Don't blame us, Shahua. It has everything to do with our interests. We'll explain everything to you after the negotiation." Shahua Master was deeply upset after hearing what his Universe Masters said. However, he couldn't do anything about it. After all, those Universe Masters were the reason for his position in the Freedom Alliance, and they were closest to him. He couldn't be tyrannical to Universe Masters, instead, he had to treat them as brothers. The 4 human Universe Masters looked at each other and noticed that the other 5 leaders, including Shahua Island Leader, didn't object. It seemed that the Freedom Alliance was indeed represented by Lightwalker Master. Lightwalker Master. Primal Chaos City Leader smiled. "Please. We've already read the inheritance information you gave us." Lightwalker Master glanced with his golden eyes, and his voice sounded cold. "Unfortunately, we're not satisfied." Primal Chaos City Leader, Luo Feng, Darkness Master, and Peng Gong Master were all shocked. Not satisfied? Luo Feng frowned. This was the information he himself had summarized, and it was definitely tempting to all the powers from all 3 universe eras. How could they not be satisfied? "What do you mean, Lightwalker Master?" Primal Chaos City Leader asked, frowning. "The inheritance information you gave us is not worth the risk." Lightwalker Master's golden eyes were cold. "If you want my alliance to help you, be more sincere. Give us more information, more comprehensive information." More comprehensive. The 4 human great beings made eye contact with each other, and started to converse secretly. Darkness Master transmitted his voice. "The Freedom Alliance is indeed greedy. They are certain that we need their help, so they are more demanding." "That's right," said Peng Gong, transmitting his voice. "There will be no end to their greed. If we give them more detailed inheritance information, they'll think we have more, and they'll keep asking for more." "Luo Feng," said Primal Chaos City Leader, transmitted his voice. "Do you think we've given them enough information?" "Yes," said Luo Feng. "Even if we give them more, they'll ask us for more," said Darkness, and Peng Gong agreed as well. The humans looked at the 6 leaders from Freedom Alliance. Primal Chaos City Leader said, "This is the most detailed information we humans can give to you." If you want more detailed information, sorry. We don't have that. If your alliance wants to help us, we'll give you the other half of the inheritance after the war. Lightwalker Master frowned. Are you sure you don't have more? No more. Primal Chaos City Leader shook his head. Luo Feng looked at them, frowning. It was indeed disappointing that the Freedom Alliance would try to exploit them at such a crucial moment. If that's the case. Lightwalker Master turned his head and looked at the other leaders, who nodded. Lightwalker Master stood up, followed by the other 4 leaders and Shahua Island leader. The information you gave us is too simple for us to risk it for you. Sorry. Lightwalker Master stood up and said coldly, let's go. They all disappeared and left the virtual universe, including the other universe masters from the Freedom Alliance outside the palace, who had also been listening to the negotiation. Don't they want the remaining part of the inheritance? Pengong Master stood up abruptly and looked confused. Why? Darkness Master found it hard to believe. Luo Feng and Primal Chaos City Leader stood up as well. Something happened. Primal Chaos City Leader frowned. Why would they just leave like this? After all, they've only got the former part of the information, and some of the most important points are in the latter part. Don't they want to be Universe Supreme Masters? Why did they just give up like that? Darkness Master looked at Shahua Island leader. What happened, Shahua? Shahua, this isn't what we talked about, Luo Feng added. Shahua Island leader was the only one left in the palace, and he didn't look well. He said, just wait for a moment. I'll tell you what happened later. In the Supreme True Treasure Palace, belonging to Shahua Island leader. Shahua Island leader looked at the Universe Masters present. They were all Universe Masters he was close to, and they were the reason he had the right to be in the Freedom Alliance. What happened, everyone? Shahua, a giant, green rock being. We're indeed friends, but all of us want to be powerful. When we become more powerful, we'll have a higher status in the original universe, especially if we can become Universe Supreme Masters, and have our own miniature universes. Our races will have a place to live. Don't blame us. What exactly happened? Yelled Shahua Island leader. This is what happened, said a seaweed-like plant life form. His voice echoed in the surrounding space. Both humans and the United Forces Alliance tried to draw us to their sides. As soon as there was a dispute among the Universe Masters in our alliance, Juhua True God from Purple Moon Holy Land contacted Lightwalker Master. Purple Moon Ancestor is willing to provide us with inheritance information from the ancient civilization on how to become Universe Supreme Masters from Universe Masters. They'll provide detailed information to us, and they said if the information the humans gave us was better, we could still help the humans. Otherwise, they require us to join the United Forces Alliance and attack the humans, especially that Luo Feng. That's what happened. Lightwalker Master is the middleman between Purple Moon Holy Land and us. He contacted us one by one and gave us the inheritance information. We've already got most of the inheritance information, and it's 10 times more detailed than the information the humans gave us. What the humans gave us is nothing compared to that. Tell us, Shahua, what should we do? Tell us. They all looked at Shahua Island leader. Shahua Island Master squeezed a smile out of his face, a helpless smile. I can't blame anyone, he said. Shahua Island leader sighed. He had planned to get the inheritance information on how to reach the limit of a Universe Supreme Master for himself, but he hadn't expected Purple Moon Holy Land to meddle. Speaking of being mysterious, the Eastern Emperor Holy Land and Purple Moon Holy Land were, indeed, mysterious, and nobody knew what kind of ancient inheritance they had received. It was natural for them to give out some of the inheritance. We want survival and power more than anything. The inheritance information given by Purple Moon Holy Land is wonderful. Plus, Purple Moon Holy Land won't fight for territories against us in the future, yet if the humans become stronger, it will be a threat to us. Besides, we'll be at an advantage if we join the United Forces Alliance. No matter what, the present, the future, and the benefits we receive, we made the right choice. I think you can understand, Shahua. All the universe masters looked at Shahua Island leader. Shahua Island leader sighed. Did Purple Moon Holy Land mention me? We mentioned you before, said the plant life form. However, Purple Moon Holy Land didn't want to give the inheritance information on how to become Limit Universe Supreme Masters, so we didn't tell you that in case something happened. Shahua Island leader forced another smile. It seems you already knew about it. This was one of our plans, answered the plant life form. For what it's worth, our plan is for the common interests of all the universe masters in the Freedom Alliance. In the palace of the virtual universe, Luo Feng, Pengong Master, Darkness Master, and Primal Chaos City Leader was still baffled. If they still want the inheritance information, they won't give up, said Primal Chaos City Leader. The Freedom Alliance was formed not only to tackle this difficult situation, but also to gain enough power to reap benefits. Don't they want to become Universe Supreme Masters? Don't they want to get inheritance information? That's right. Luo Feng and the other three were waiting. Shahua Island leader sat there with his eyes closed for a long time, before he opened them again. Luo Feng and the other three were shocked. They were powerful enough to infer something from the expression on Shahua Island leader's face. He looked helpless now. The Freedom Alliance decided to join the United Forces Alliance. Shahua Island shocked them all with his first sentence. Luo Feng and the other four looked forlorn, as they knew things would now become difficult for them. Impossible, yelled Luo Feng. It's impossible that they gave up inheritance information. What if they already have information that is 10 times more detailed? Shahua Island leader looked at Luo Feng. What? Luo Feng was dazed. 10 times. In Universe Ocean, the first Universe Era, the second Universe Era, and the original Universe Era, none of the powers could get such detailed information except the humans. Perhaps only the two Holy Lands had it. There was the possibility that the Holy Lands had meddled in the situation. However, the two Holy Lands were outside the power struggle, and they didn't have any conflicts with humans. Why would they even meddle? It's Purple Moon Holy Land. Shahua Island leader sighed. Purple Moon Holy Land gave the Freedom Alliance information in exchange for dealing with the humans. Especially you, Luo Feng. Me? Luo Feng opened his eyes wide while Primal Chaos City Leader, Darkness Master, and Pengong Master looked at Luo Feng. Purple Moon Holy Land. Luo Feng found it hard to believe. This video will end here.